Adding functions to library. Most of the times we either use the functions present in standard library, and would it make any sense in doing so? We can add user defined functions to library. It makes sense in doing so as the functions that are to be used in library are first compiled and then added. So functions that are so library is a section in which the codes or programs which are already written by the manufacturer or a specialized programmer or a professional programmer. So they write those codes in a separate section, and we don't have to type these codes again. So for accessing those codes, we define the library. That means we tell compiler to include a specific library. For example, for using power function, that means if we want to use 2 raised to 2, so for using 2 raised to 2 we cannot do in C programming, but we have to use a library function for that, that is math.hex. So math.hex is a library function. So hex is written because it is a hex code file. So that was h, that is why h is written here. So include uh, then bracket math.h and then bracket complete. So we are by telling this we are including the math library. So these are libraries which are already written by programmer. For example, include math.hex, include conio.hex, include stdio.hex. So these are library functions. So most of the times we either use functions present in standard library. That means we don't include any of the libraries. And would it make any sense in doing so? That means uh, if we don't use any library, we are writing our codes again and again. That means the codes which are in library, if we are writing these codes in our program again and again, so our program will become lengthy and it will cost us a lot of memory also. So would it make any sense in doing so? We can add user defined functions to library. So user defined functions, that means our special functions also we can create our own library also. It makes sense in doing so as the functions that are to be used in library are first compiled and then added. So functions which are used in library are first compiled and then added. Let us now see how to add user defined functions to library. So we will come to know that how to add these user defined functions to library. Different compilers provide different utilities to add, delete, modify. So different compilers are using different utilities for adding, delete and modifying functions. For example, Turbo C, C++ compilers provide utility called tlib.exe. So Turbo C and C++ compilers provide tlib.exe, so which is called turbo librarian. Let us use this utility to add functions factorial to library. So we are creating a function called factorial and we are adding it to library with turbo librarian, that is tlib.exe.